This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes, creators of the world's best repair manuals. Fix your car or truck the right way with our accurate and reliable information at your side. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete online manual at Haynes.com.
Apply the handbrake. Chock the rear wheels to prevent the vehicle from rolling. Loosen the front wheel lug nuts, then jack up the front of the car and support it on jack stands. Remove the wheel for the drive axle being replaced. Remove the cotter pin from the end of the drive axle. To prevent the hub from turning while you're loosening the drive axle nut, wedge a pry bar between two of the wheel studs. If an assistant is available, having them depress the brake pedal while loosening the nut will also work. Remove the cotter pin and loosen the ball joint stud nut a few turns. Separate the ball joint stud from the steering knuckle with a pickle fork type ball joint separator. Be sure to grease the fork end of the tool to protect the ball joint dust boot. Remove the nut, then separate the control arm from the steering knuckle, using a pry bar to aid in this process. If the drive axle splines are frozen, free them by tapping the end of the drive axle with a soft-faced hammer or a hammer and a brass punch. If the drive axle splines still cannot be unfrozen from the hub, spray some penetrating lubricant and use a puller to unfreeze the splines. Pull out on the steering knuckle and detach the drive axle from the hub. Rest the outer CV joint of the drive axle carefully aside, taking care not to overextend the joints for the remainder of the procedure. If you're removing the left drive axle, carefully pry the inner CV joint out of the transaxle and remove the drive axle assembly. For the right drive axle, remove the support bearing bracket bolts. Mark the relationship of the bearing to the support bracket. Pull out the drive axle assembly, carefully separating the bearing apart from the support bracket as needed. Remove the drive axle from the fender well. Clean the transaxle or intermediate shaft seal, then examine the condition of the seal. Replace it if necessary. Carefully guide the new or overhauled right side drive axle and intermediate shaft through the support bearing bracket and into the transaxle. For left side drive axles, carefully guide the drive axle inner splines straight into the transaxle, making sure the new circlip seats into the transaxle. Lightly tap the right side drive axle bearing bracket into the engine side bracket, joining the bracket halves. Make sure the bearing bracket is oriented correctly. Install the support bearing bracket bolts. Tighten the bolts to the specified torque setting. If desired, apply anti-seize compound to the outer drive axle splines to prevent them from sticking in the hub on future removal. Pull out on the knuckle and hub assembly and insert the outer splines into the hub. Pry down on the lower control arm and insert the ball joint stud through the hub assembly. Install the lower control arm ball joint nut. Tighten the nut to the specified torque setting. Insert a new cotter pin through the ball joint stud. Install the drive axle hub nut. Using the method described previously to prevent the hub from turning, tighten the drive axle hub nut to the specified torque setting. Install a new cotter pin to the end of the drive axle. Install the front wheel and lug nuts. Lower the car to the ground and tighten the wheel lug nuts to the specified torque setting.